Linguistic capital. Now, when we talk about linguistic capital, okay, this is a term which was brought into being by a French scholar known as Pierre Bourdieu. Pierre Bourdieu, in 1986, okay? Now, it is a term used to describe the different language resources, okay? It's a term used to describe the different language resources available to a single person, and the values associated with each resource. Like I said, it is a term used to describe the different language resources available to a single person, and the values associated with each resource. Now, when we talk about language resources, we are simply referring to languages, okay? We are simply referring to languages. So, if you have 4 languages, it means you have 4 language resources, okay? You have 4 language resources. Now, the question you need to ask yourself, what are the values of these languages to you as an individual? What are the values of these 4 languages? Do you think the 4 languages will have the same values? Or do you think the 4 languages will vary in terms of their values? So that's the question of linguistic capital. For example, if I have 4 languages, if I have Skuma, English, Swahili, and French, this means I have 4 language resources, okay? Now I'm trying to see how each language resource is valuable to me as an individual. For example, how am I going to use Sukuma? Is Sukuma going to be of value to me? Okay? How am I going to use English as a resource? Is English going to be of value to me? How am I going to use French? Okay? Is French going to be of value to me? How am I going to use Swahili? Is Swahili going to be of value to me? In which context? So when we talk about linguistic capital, we are referring to an individual. So we are trying to talk about the language resources an individual has, and how these language resources can help him or her get something, okay? How valuable are they? Look at the concept. Linguistic capital. Now let's see. So, Bourdieu, the name is B-O, it's a French name. B-O-U, okay? B-O-U-R, okay? B-O-U-R-D-I-E-U. Bourdieu. It is pronounced as Bourdieu. Now, Bourdieu describes linguistic capital as a form of cultural capital. Bourdieu describes linguistic capital as a form of cultural capital, and specifically as the accumulation of a single person's linguistic skills, that predetermines their position in society as delegated by powerful institutions. Let me repeat that, okay? Bourdieu describes linguistic capital as a form of cultural capital, and specifically as the accumulation of a single person's linguistic skills that predetermines, the accumulation predetermines their position. This means the position of these linguistic skills, okay, in society is delegated by powerful institutions. It's delegated by powerful institutions. Now, if you have certain linguistic skills related to a certain language, the question you're going to ask yourself as an individual is, are these linguistic skills in this language valuable? Okay? Are the linguistic skills in this language valuable? And who is going to say whether these linguistic skills are valuable or not? Who is going to say that? The society. You get what I said? The society is going to say whether your linguistic skills in a certain language are valuable or not valuable. For example, if you live in a society where English is valued, okay? If you live in a society where English is valued, then your linguistic skills will be needed. But if you live in a country where English is not valued, your linguistic skills won't be valued. Your linguistic skills in English will be nothing. So the society in which you live is going to determine the value of the linguistic skills you have in a given language. You get the concept? Yeah. So we say cultural capital. That was linguistic capital, okay? Because cultural capital is going to go with linguistic what? Capital. So cultural capital is going also hand in hand with linguistic what? Capital. So cultural capital, on the other hand, is an accumulation of knowledge. Cultural capital, on the other hand, is an accumulation of knowledge, skills, and other cultural acquisitions. And other cultural acquisitions. Are you there? And other cultural acquisitions, which is enhanced. This accumulation is enhanced by educational or technical qualifications. Let me read. Cultural capital, like I said, which goes hand in hand with linguistic capital, okay? Because there's no way you can separate the two. You can't separate the two. Language and culture are inseparable. So cultural capital, on the other hand, is an accumulation of knowledge, skills, and other cultural acquisitions, which is enhanced. This accumulation is enhanced by educational or technical qualifications. By educational or technical qualifications. For example, if you say you can teach in an English medium school, okay? If you say you can teach in an English medium school, let's say you are not an English teacher, but you can teach mathematics, okay? You can teach mathematics. You are a mathematician, okay? You are a mathematician. You can teach mathematics or can teach physics. You have qualifications in this domain, okay? You can teach physics. But in order for you to teach physics, well, we know that you are qualified. You are a qualified physics teacher, okay? But in order for you to teach physics, you also need to have linguistic skills, okay? You need to have a language resource which is accepted in a given society. You understand? So if you can teach physics, you won't teach in an English medium school. We are going to require you to have qualifications in English, okay? You need to have linguistic skills in English. We don't simply rely on your physics qualifications. Your physics qualifications can be valuable only when you have linguistic skills in English. So if you have linguistic skills in English, then we are going to accept your candidature. Your candidature. We're going to accept you as a teacher in our school. That's why I say language and culture are inseparable. You can't separate the two. If you have linguistic skills in a given language, accepted in a given society, you also need to have qualifications in a certain field. Okay? Okay? You get a concept? Yeah. That's what we mean by cultural capital. Cultural capital. Can you teach mathematics using English? If yes, then you have linguistic skills and you have qualifications in your area of study. But if you only have qualifications, no, I'm giving an example. I'm giving an example of a situation where you have a physics teacher who wants to teach physics in a certain school, in the context of Tanzania, let's say at secondary school, okay? Secondary school level. We know for sure that in Tanzania we use English as a medium mode instruction. Now, if you want to teach physics, you also need to have linguistic skills which are needed related to English, okay? Because English is used as a medium mode instruction. There's no way you can teach physics in Tanzania if you don't know English. That's why I say linguistic capital goes hand in hand with cultural capital. You get the concept? Hmm? Because cultural capital is enhanced by education. Is it? Enhanced by education. And technical qualifications. Technical qualifications. Are you there? Okay. So we can say, as a form of communication, language mediates interactions. Okay? That's why we say linguistic capital. For example, if you want to start a business, any normal business, okay? You need to have a capital. You need to have a capital. And if you want to excel in the English-speaking community, you need to have linguistic capital. And this linguistic capital is not Swahili. It's not Chinese, it is English. If you want to excel in a Chinese-speaking community, you need to have language capital, linguistic capital, which is Chinese. Now I say, as a form of communication, language mediates human interactions and is a form of an action itself. An action of itself. That means language is understood as a form of capital. Language is understood as a form of capital that is mediated through social power relations. Language is understood as a form of capital that is mediated through social power relations. What do you mean by social power relations? What do you mean by that? Yeah, this means there is a relationship between what you have as linguistic capital and the social power relations, okay? Because there's no way you can use a certain language somewhere where that language is not needed by the society. When one's language